Hello, my name is Grace Bewley Hunt, Home and Design Editor at Lux Interiors and Design Magazine. Thank you for tuning into today's Maker segment on Design TV. I'm thrilled to be chatting today with the design duo behind luxury American furnishings brand Hellman Chang. Eric Chang, Creative Director and Client Relations Manager, and Dan Hellman, Technical Designer and Operations Director. Beloved for their refined, exquisitely crafted furniture, Hellman Chang also has one of my personal favorite brand genesis stories ever. As childhood friends in Maryland, Dan and Eric spent their high school days tinkering in Dan's father's garage, teaching themselves woodworking from borrowed library books. While they pursued successful careers in music and marketing, respectively, the pull to their self taught hobby held fast, and soon they found themselves moonlighting as woodworkers and designers. Their true passion, of course, from a shared rental studio space in Bushwick, and the rest, as they say. So today we're going to be diving into this brand and story, getting to know the men behind the circular saw, and talking through the remarkable steps they're taking to really evolve this brand in these crazy times. So without further ado, welcome, gentlemen. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for having us.
It's a pleasure. So to get started, just for those who are less familiar with your brand, I'd love if you could each speak a bit more about what Hellman Chang does and kind of your respective roles in the partnership. So Eric, do you want to kick things off for us?
Yeah, sure. Dan and I are, both co-founders, but we are able to kind of divvy up that workload pretty well. We're a good kind of yin-yang balance. So my daily schedule mostly involves coordinating things with the showrooms, meeting and speaking with designers, understanding the projects and how we can customize our line for their specific design schemes. And for us, that's very inspirational. In fact, it's kind of how our line grows and how we personally get inspired by what we do. And usually in the afternoons, I'll have a design meeting with my team to kind of go over new concepts and refining new products. That's my half of things. Dan wants to kind of go over what he does.
So and on my end of the spectrum, I'm dealing much more with once we have an order and how that order goes through the system, goes through the shop. So I spend a lot of my time throughout the days, first getting the day kicked off with the production team, what has to get done for that day, what's expected, just managing the whole machine. Consider the whole shop a big machine with a lot of moving parts and things having to get done and on the right time and on the right schedule and of the right quality. And then with new designs, working with our engineering and production, programming side of things to make sure that we're going to be making the right part and the right pieces, and all things are going to go smoothly once they do hit the shop floor. So it's a lot of that, and then searching for ways to make things more efficient in the shop and leverage all that we've invested into the company so we can look to the years ahead.
I will say though, the way that Dan and I work together, it's still kind of the old method that we used to, where generally I may draw something up and then Dan will end up shredding it apart and saying, this isn't going to work. So we kind of go back and forth between the two of us to figure out, how we're going to create a perfect piece that's perfectly executed at the same time. So we still have that good balance and mentality together. Well, I often joke that without each other, I just have a stack of drawings and Dan would have a stack of cutting boards, but then together we can make beautiful furniture.
No, definitely. I feel like your partnership is just so impressive, not only for its dynamic, but also for the longevity. I just love that you've traveled with each other over the years and it's still doing it right, and kind of, kicking it back a little bit. I'd love if you guys could actually share a little bit more about kind of your birth in Brooklyn, because I know we're going to be talking about a recent move very shortly. But if you could kind of just share a little bit more about getting your start, if you will, in the Brooklyn Renaissance movement.
Sure. Yeah, maybe I could kick things off by just saying that, again, you kind of alluded to it, but Eric and I have been lifelong friends since we're about 10 years old. Middle school, high school, had, classes together. And it started, we kind of were hanging out and realized that we had a shared passion for art and design, and loved woodworking class. So it was kind of the beginning seeds of what we have going on right now. But we, like you said, we started tinkering around in my parents' garage in suburban Maryland. And fast forward to New York, it was post college. Eric went to NYU and studied finance and marketing, and I went to Northwestern and I studied classical guitar performance. So none of us had design background, but we were just hanging out and remembering those days in the garage and how we could recreate it. Found a really cool co-op wood shop space where we could kind of rekindle the hobby. And yeah, and so it was a lot of fun in those early days, getting it off the ground. And kind of fast forward to the design trade. We entered one of our first pieces into Interior Design Magazine's Best of Year award, and as young 20-somethings ended up winning the category. Eric, you want to?
We remember there's the first Best of Year awards, I think 2006, and yeah, we're like 24 at the time. We go on stage and we accept this award from Cindy Allen, and she's like, "Who the heck are you guys?" And "Who are you?" She's the first person we ever met in the industry. And the piece gets published, and a week later we get a call from the Four Seasons, so the designers for the Four Seasons Hotel in Seattle. So we love this piece. Can you redesign it as a restaurant bar table? And that was our very first client. And I remember being in Dan's Upper West Side basement apartment, being on the phone with them. They're like, "Yeah, we can do that." We high-fived each other. And they were like, how the hell are we going to do this?
Right. Say yes, figure it out later.
Yeah. So that was our first kind of foray into, hey, we have something here. And our second client ended up being Sex and the City, the movie, and they had us redesign the table as bedside tables for Carrie and Big's bedroom. And then our third or fourth client was Gossip Girl. We designed a number of pieces for their set, and they actually ended up writing us into one of their script episodes, which was fun. And kind of the rest is history. We ended up getting picked up by trade showrooms, and now here we are, 14 years later.
Yeah, and I would love to kind of use it as a segue because you guys have made a huge change recently. You have moved your operations from New York City down to Dawsonville, Georgia, which I can imagine is a change of pace in so many ways. So exciting, so many things on the horizon. I would love to hear a bit about how that transition has been, personally, professionally. How's Georgia life treating you?
Yeah, it's been, in short, it's been great. It's been really challenging and a lot of hard work. And so far, we're seeing the beginnings of it being a rewarding transition. Brooklyn was a really great place to start our company, but what we were doing and the types of products we were making, it was beginning to catch up with us. That the charming spaces that you can find in Brooklyn, these artist lofts and studios, have so much appeal, especially to two young guys starting out. But as we grew, it was just a challenge. And so we first, years ago, maybe 3 to 5 years ago, we started looking at other spaces, and neighborhoods are getting gentrified, and lofts are turning, or warehouse spaces are turning into lofts, which are turning into apartment buildings. So it became pretty clear that it was we had to look elsewhere. One of the things I'm most excited about is how flat our floor is. Our Brooklyn shops were just these old kind of rickety, sinking in type buildings. They've been pre-war. We have a nice modern manufacturing space. We were able to lay out our machinery in a much better setup so we could allow for a better flow of the product through the space. Another key thing was we combined it. We had our spaces separate in Brooklyn. We had a woodworking shop and we had a finishing shop. And now we were able to bring all that under one roof, which was really key to have it all that control and be able to see everything and only go to one place during the day, not have to split time. So for a lot of those reasons, and we're really just beginning to kind of feel the benefits of the move and our new space.
Part of that move, of course, was expanding our production capabilities. We implemented fairly successfully, it's an ongoing process, but lean production. And one of the big goals for us was trying to take maybe the top 20% of our line and streamlining that process. Because as you guys all know, with the Amazon culture and with users being more used to retail, there has just been this constant demand in the last few years for faster lead times and quick ship products. So over the last few months, what we've been able to do is kind of combine all of that into a really robust 4-week quick ship program.
Oh, amazing.
So yeah, it actually has 17 products available in over 170 SKU combinations. Yeah, all for 4 weeks. And that
Incredible.
certainly would not have been possible without this recent move.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, having this new space has allowed, like Dan said, the marriage of technology and craftsmanship in a way that really kind of suits our team. What that has done on the creative side of things, it's allowed us to start flexing our muscles with new product design. So actually this fall, we'll be introducing two new lines. One is called the Fountain line. The other is yet to be named. But we wouldn't have been able to do it without our new team, without the new machinery that we have in this space. So these have been designs that have been kind of cooking for the last couple of years, but just no real way to comfortably execute it. And now we can, which I'm really, really excited about. The Fountain line is a little more inspired by nature and specifically kind of like the Southeast Asian islands that kind of pop out of the water with these cascading waterfalls.
Oh, gorgeous.
And the other line that I'm really excited about is kind of a marriage of more curvature and straight lines and a focus on negative space, which we've been known for. So, where we've been super linear before with solid woods, we've been able to kind of soften our lines a little bit and evolve the design language. So we're very, very excited about that.
Sounds very beautiful. I actually would really like to know kind of something I always like to ask creatives is to play favorites. I would actually love if each of you could kind of share a favorite piece from your line and maybe the story behind that piece and why it kind of sticks out.
In thinking about that, I kind of picked two pieces. One of our classic designs is the NOLA line, specifically the NOLA round table. Just a really pretty piece, very simple. But what I like about it, it really was one of the first pieces that we started marrying straight lines and curves. So the kind of darts that I call them that are created from the inner curving facets of the legs intersect quite nicely into like a very round bottom plate to the base with a really beautiful under bevel on the round top. So again, it's like rounds and curves with straight lines that intersect. And what I also love about it is it bends just enough like classic woodworking rules and techniques. So we're kind of like pushing the material to the limit there, but getting away with it. Another kind of newer design is our Jillian. So the Jillian sideboard we're really excited about. We're playing with different grain patterns. So on the doors, you'll see a contrasting grain pattern that is delineated by an inlay brass. Just a really pretty look, and designers can do a lot with it. It's a case piece, so you can really customize the inside. You can use it as a small two-door hutch. You can use it as a long, low sideboard. So it just has a lot of cool opportunities with it, mixed materials. Really nice piece.
How about you, Eric?
Yeah, it's kind of like picking your favorite child.
Right.
The easy cop-out answer is, the Z collection. Obviously, that's kind of how we got ourselves on the map, and so it's kind of become iconic in its own right. But we've done every iteration of that piece: side table, bedside tables, consoles, dining tables. It's always still fun to see how designers keep playing with it. Another classic line for us is the Natalia Casegoods line. It's got bedside tables and sideboards. Just the variability of customization that's available through it is a lot of fun as well. But for new things, Hellman Chang has primarily been a Casegoods line. We're really known for dining tables and consoles and sideboards, but we're really excited about diversifying our portfolio within soft goods and seating. So one of our newest chairs is the Terra chair. Very excited about that one.
That's so gorgeous.
Recent to the market. Yeah, it's got these beautiful solid brass handles milled from very thick, heavy solid metal. And it's a beautiful marriage between sculpting the wood and then transitioning to new materials, whether that's the beautiful fabric that a designer chooses all the way up to the different metal finishes that they can pick from. So again, it's funny because we see our pieces all in a vacuum, in the context of a dusty wood shop.
Sure.
But to see how these things come alive at a part of a larger design scheme and seeing how you could really be creative with it is just super inspiring for us. Everything is a collaborative effort, and I think that's what makes our job so fulfilling.
Definitely. Isn't that just like a continual delight seeing your pieces in amazing spaces and different contexts? That must be so edifying.
Oh yeah, I mean it's kind of like you raise your child and you see it go off in the world and do amazing things, or completely bomb. Who knows? I mean, it's just a fun experience.
You're like, I'm so proud of you. You look great. Well, Eric and Dan, this has been so much fun and such an education for me. I want to say a huge thank you for joining us today on Makers. And to our viewers, please remember to like our Facebook page, Lux Interiors and Design, and to make sure to follow our Lux Instagram page at Lux Magazine for more inspiration. Thank you guys so much, and we'll see you all next time on Design TV.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Grace Bewley Hunt, Home and Design Editor at Lux Interiors and Design Magazine. Thank you for tuning in to today's Maker segment on Design TV. I am thrilled to be chatting today with several talents behind heritage hardware and bath accessory brand Sherrill Wagner. Founded in 1945, the company's eponymous father, Sherrill Wagner, is largely credited with ushering the concept of luxury into the American bathroom. Following their inaugural product offering, a dolphin faucet with a 24-karat gold finish, Sherrill Wagner soon blossomed into a leading luxury bath brand synonymous with fine taste and incomparable craftsmanship. Today, we are joined by Evan Jeffroy, president and grandson of founders Rose and Sherrill Wagner. Evan joined the company in 2004. Next, we have Scott Kettle. Scott oversees toolmaking, production engineering, and prototyping, combining ingenuity, engineering, and machining expertise. And last but not least, we have Jessica Sy, an artist and artisan who carves originals for Lost Wax Casting, preserving the integrity of casting and chasing quality and product development. Thank you all so much for being here and welcome.
Hi.
Thank you. So to get started today, let's just kind of situate our viewers. So for anybody a little less familiar with the company, Evan, would you be able to speak a bit more about what Sherrill Wagner does, your amazing family history, and your role in the company today?
Absolutely. So thank you for that great introduction, Grace. As you mentioned, one of the places that we started as a company in the 1940s was the integration of truly beautiful design and incredible craftsmanship. And at the heart of our company, that is what drives us day in and day out. And what's really exciting about our company is we've evolved in so many different ways. Obviously, the design aesthetic has evolved tremendously, and all concepts from contemporary to deco are a part of what we offer. And that original dolphin basin set that my grandparents had in the 1940s is something that Jessica is still hand chasing and Scott is still machining today. So we're really excited that we come from such an incredible legacy and that we found ways to grow and remain relevant. And I can truly say today that with the artists and the engineers that we have on staff, that the beauty of the product and the quality of the product is superior to anything that we've ever offered throughout history.
Fabulous. Yeah, I feel like it's so incredible to chart a company over the span of almost 100 years. We're like just traversing all this time and space and adapting to this crazy climate we're all living in. And, another thing that we found really just so impressive about your brand is your commitment to manufacturing here in the United States. So I also kind of, in setting up what your company does, your brand values, I'd love if you could speak a bit more about that commitment and, how you run the operations and are so committed to this domestic model.
Absolutely. And it's a huge point of pride for us, but we also do it for very practical reasons as well. And some of it is that the skills and the artisanship is something that isn't really taught. It's something that's learned within our facility. It's carried down from artisan to artisan. And maintaining the legacy of that tradition is core to our brand, but it really comes from the people that we have working in our manufacturing facility. So I'm so excited that Jessica and Scott are here joining us today, sort of at two different ends of the spectrum of what we do, but always working together. They represent what makes Sherrill Wagner special. Jessica has a skill set that is truly unique. It's a skill set that would be comparable to what you would find in metal workers dating back to the Renaissance and beyond. Back in Egypt, throughout the history of man, creating really beautiful things with our hands. And I think that what she does has evolved to reflect that history. There are certainly techniques that we use that are special and unique to what we do at Sherrill Wagner. And then also in conjunction with the idea of taking those beautifully hand-decorated, true pieces of art that Jessica creates, and then working with Scott, who's an artist by his own right. And his art is manifested in the engineering and in the machining and in the precision and proportions and precision that he's able to create out of how our manufacturing facility runs our machine shop and runs our engineering. So integrating those two concepts, the real traditions, the cutting edge technology is what allows our company to remain relevant, keeps us at the cutting edge of both design and function, and why we manufacture in the United States. It also gives us the ability to control our supply chain. It lets us do really special things like custom work, which is something that's become increasingly important for us, both for our customers here in the United States and all over the world. People are so excited to see something that's being manufactured in this way and being manufactured in the United States. And our international business is growing tremendously as well. And a lot of times as we're working on projects, someone may want to customize something for their own home, but as we're working with some of the finest hotels and hospitality projects and condo developments in the world as well, the idea of taking what we have and making it really special for that project to not just reflect who we are and what we represent from a design standpoint, but to also understand our clients and what they're trying to achieve from a design standpoint, and to mesh those together is a place that we can really differentiate. And a lot of times it's a matter of walking down and Scott and Jessica and I getting in a room together and talking about what can be accomplished. So to be able to control the design process all the way through the manufacturing to the delivery under one roof in Massachusetts with incredible people like Scott and Jessica is a huge point of pride for us, and also a big reason why we have the capabilities of doing what we do.
Fabulous. Well, thank you for that perfect setup to today's exercise. We really wanted to highlight today the level of craftsmanship and the attention to detail that goes into every single piece you put forward. So we thought we would actually walk through the life cycle of a favorite Sherrill Wagner piece. So let's kind of start at the beginning. Jessica, do you want to kick us off?
Sure, I'd love to. So the piece that we'll use as the example today is the ribbon and reed wall sconce. It's a great example of the effort that goes into creating one of our products. Like many projects, this started out as a concept sketch from one of our designers, and we'll kind of start there. Production strategy will generally start with a series of conversations between Scott and I, the design director, Evan, whomever needs to. The meetings regard the design, the functionality of the pieces, issues that we have with casting and machining. We come up with an initial plan and are in constant communication throughout the process as changes are needed. We're always collaborating with each other, with the designer, throughout the entire process. When I began on this project in particular, the ribbon and reed wall sconce, I referred to the sketch as well as our heritage line of ribbon and reed levers. Beautiful series.
So beautiful.
For the aesthetic guidance to kind of, tie it in.
Yeah, those handles they're amazing. They have a range of textures and reliefs applied to them in a very, very high resolution. It's very dazzling to the eye to look at. If you look really closely at the leaves, you see microscopic details. There are veins coursing through the leaves, and the ribbons are wild ribbons wrapping around. It's very, very pretty. The original sculptors clearly they had skill and passion, so we know it's important that we have to pay the same attention to that detail. On this one, on the ribbon and reed sconce, determined early on that casting such a complex piece in one single piece was going to be unfeasible. So we decided to cast it in 3 smaller pieces, and so the original wax models were sculpted according to those considerations. And if you look at the original concept sketch by our designer and you look at our final product, you'll see that a lot of evolution has occurred over time. We added a leafy tail to the body. We changed some proportions in the contour a little bit. A lot of fun. It's a lot of fun.
It's just such a beautiful piece. What was the initial inspiration for that design?
I believe the original concept was sketched as it was sketched out was from Philippe, one of our designers, Philippe, and it was eventually adapted because of some similarity between our 912 style ribbon and reed door handle, which has a very similar sort of aesthetic to it, and that is actually what we tried to emulate in a larger form. Of course, the handle is about the size of your hand, and our sconce is quite a bit larger. But
okay,
it was the 912 handle. It is.
Well, thank you guys. It's such a privilege to kind of see how it all comes together, and it's just a stunning piece. You know, kind of before we wrap today, I just also wanted to talk to you guys and see what you're excited about. You know, this is a time of much change in the world, and we all need beautiful, happy things to look forward to. We're all thinking about our homes. So I just wanted to check in with you and see what's coming down the pike. What can our viewers look for from Sherrill Wagner in the days ahead?
Well, I'll tell you one thing. We have an exciting new line of desk lamps and table lamps coming. It's in development. It's been in development for about 1.5 years now. We're not ready for release quite yet, but it is a beautiful addition to. It will be a beautiful addition to our lines. In particular, a brand new color palette has been developed for these desk lamps, and it is beautiful.
We've had an opportunity over the last few weeks to really take a look at our supply chain and to concentrate on our factory. I'm really excited. We brought in some exciting new equipment, some 4-axis CNC machines that are allowing us to do some prototyping and product development on a whole new level from anything that we've done before. So while we've had a little bit of a quiet time over the last few weeks, now back to work full speed ahead, we had the opportunity to take a look at both what we could do to improve the product that we're making already and also to set the groundwork for us to introduce new and exciting product going forward. So over the next 6 months to a year, look to us for coming out with some very new, exciting designs and concepts and introductions to complement our existing line.
Thank you guys all so much. This really was an education and so fun to hear more about how this all comes together behind the scenes, the story behind the brand. So thank you so much for joining us today on Makers on DesignTV.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.